Hello and welcome back to Stop and Go F1 for this, our reaction to the F1 Academy in Abu Dhabi on today, which is F1 season finale day, the season finale of F1 Academy, F2, and of course F1. We'll be covering all of it throughout the day, starting with this F1 Academy. I'm all suited and booted. I've got my special F1 tie on. That's how you know it's F1 finale day. Before we get into anything, remember to like and subscribe, and of course, a huge shout out to the members: Dakota, The Joyous James, Robin Myers, Cinnamon Strudel, and our brand new member, Jack Hawk. If you want to become a member, click the link in the description down below. You get to see all the features we have there for the membership, all that kind of stuff. But let's now talk about F1 Academy, because my goodness, what a weekend it's been. I think that's easily the best weekend of F1 Academy we have ever had. And what we see here is what we see quite a lot with feeder series. Is you see it especially in something like a Formula 3, which is, as the season goes on, the drivers get better and better and more comfortable within the cars. And because they're at such an early point in their careers, the kind of curve of them getting good, they gain a lot of talent throughout a season. So at the start of the year, you have a race like in Saudi Arabia, where it was Dorian Pan leading the way, no one really competing with her. And then, we get here to Abu Dhabi, this final race of the season, and, despite there was one driver who still dominated at least two of the races, they were the closest races we've had all year, with multiple people competing for podiums and even wins. So, the amount of talent that has been gained by the drivers across the season has been incredible. And this weekend, we have 3 races, not 2. Now, if you were watching back in Qatar, you may remember that one of the races was cancelled due to damage in a barrier. So, they have done 3 races this weekend to make up for the race that we didn't have last weekend. But that has thrown a new spanner in the works, because we did crown Abby Pulling as the F1 Academy champion last time out in Qatar. But because we're now having 3 races, there are now 3 pole positions that can be awarded this weekend. And in F1 Academy, if you get pole, you get 2 points. And because of that, because of the new 3 pole positions, it means that mathematically, Dorian Pan could win the F1 Academy title if Abby Pulling had DNF from all 3 races and Dorian Pan had claimed all 3 pole positions. Luckily for Abby Pulling, on the Friday, she claimed pole position 3 times, giving her 6 points, and she wins the F1 Academy title for the 2nd time this year. So, congratulations to Abby Pulling, who I don't think is now a 2-time F1 Academy champion, but has won the F1 Academy title twice, which is a very interesting statistic there. Anyway, moving on though, let's talk about this race weekend, because it was a very fun one. Abby Pulling on pole, Chloe Chambers alongside her for the first race of the weekend. And as the race starts, Chloe Chambers takes the lead, but going into turn 9 on the first lap, she spins, giving the lead back to Abby Pulling. Chambers does have an unsafe rejoin as well at this point. It gives her a 5-second penalty. She's down to 16th place. It was a shame to see. Chloe Chambers is a driver who I really like and has really impressed me throughout the year, and she will be back in F1 Academy next year with the Red Bull team. I look forward to seeing what she does from there. But I think, this race weekend has really shown her entire F1 Academy career in a nutshell, where she has these great moments where she's leading the race or whatever it might be, but she doesn't have the consistency of a Pulling or a Pan yet. I think she can definitely get there, but as of right now, she's not quite there. But I think she is seriously a contender for next year's title. We also get a 5-second penalty for Houseman, who left the track and gained an advantage. There's a fantastic battle further down between Houseman and Lovenfoss, with Houseman being pushed off the track but keeping the position. she does eventually give that position back, though. There's now a four-way fight for P10 between Houseman, Lovenfoss, Chambers, and Nobles. That's going on in the background. Houseman hits Lovenfoss, and Chambers passes Nobles. Lovenfoss then hits Chambers, and Lovenfoss spins. It was all going off. Every single race was a bit of chaos this weekend in F1 Academy. It was fantastic stuff. Meanwhile, near the front of the race, we have Pan now on the back of Hamna Al-Khabaisi. Al-Khabaisi's home race. This is fighting for the podium. Pan going for P2. Leah Block is now joining the battle for P10 as well. That was something as well that happened a lot of times this weekend. If there's like a four-way battle for a position, if one driver span, it wouldn't become a three-way battle because someone else would have caught up, and it's now a four-way battle again. It was just very consistent. Weug is on the back of Marty for P6. There's a penalty for Houseman, 10 seconds creating a collision. There's fantastic defensive driving from Marty to make sure she keeps Amna Al-Khabaisi behind. Keep Weug behind, Amna Al-Khabaisi then joined that battle for that position. Now, at this point, Hamna Al-Khabaisi is in P2 with Dorian Pan trying to get that position. And Abby Pulling, despite her and Hamna Al-Khabaisi not being teammates, she is told to try and give Hamna the toe in order to try and help out in the Constructors' Championship. Abby Pulling does not do this. And as we cross the line, Abby Pulling takes the win, first win of the weekend for her. Hamna Al-Khabaisi does get that P2. Dorian Pan in P3. De House is 4th. Bustamante 5th. Marty 6th. Weug 7th. Amna Al-Khabaisi in 8th. Strider in 9th. And then Nobles in P10. Let's go now to race number 2. And once again, as it is for all three of these races, it was Pulling on pole with Chloe Chambers alongside her. But this time round, Abby Pulling is able to keep the lead with a fantastic start. But as we go down into turn 6, there's a huge lock-up from Pulling, which allows Chambers to get right onto the back of her. Then at the exact same corner where Chambers span and lost the lead in the first race, she goes down the inside and takes the lead from Abby Pulling this time. Strider's in the pits. There was a huge contact between her and Lovenfoss. All 4 wheels off the ground from this contact from Strider, so big damage there. She has to retire the car. There is a fantastic battle between Weug, Bustamante, De House, and Amna Al-Khabaisi. That's for P6. And now I think we are going to have the first ever F1 Academy Snitch Watch. We've got a Snitch Watch, everyone, because Pulling is reporting some track limits violations for Chloe Chambers. There's a penalty for Amna Al-Khabaisi for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. Pulling yet again reporting some track limits violations on Chloe Chambers. There's another penalty here for Leah Block for a false start. At this point, lap 8, Pulling is able to pass Chambers and retake the lead. Chloe Chambers going deep right before the section that goes underneath the hotel, just locked up, went off the track, Pulling able to get right behind her and then take the lead from there. But at this point we have a fantastic 4-way battle for the lead with Pulling, Chambers, Hamna Al-Khabaisi and Dorian Pan as well. But Pulling does start to pull away a little bit from Chambers on lap 9. Weug is able to get past Marty for P5 on lap 10, and Houseman goes round the outside of Amna Al-Khabaisi underneath the hotel. Fantastic move to get P9 on lap 12. And then to finish the race, there's actually a crash between Lovenfoss and Edgar. The two of them crash on that big left-hander just before the start of the third sector. This brings out the safety car, which takes us to the end of the race. So as we cross the line for the second race, Pulling wins yet again. Chloe Chambers in P2, Hamna Al-Khabaisi 3rd, Pan in 4th, Weug 5th, Marty 6th, Bustamante 7th, De House 8th, Houseman 9th, and Amna Al-Khabaisi in 10th. And then one last race. The final race of F1 Academy, and for a lot of these drivers, their last ever race in F1 Academy. Of course, Abby Pulling is the champion, so will not be racing next year, but you have the likes of Bustamante and Marty and many others who this is their second year in F1 Academy, and the rule states that you can only have 2 years. So for a lot of these drivers, it is their final race of the series. And for the third time this weekend, Abby Pulling is on pole, Chloe Chambers is alongside. Once again, Abby Pulling able to keep the lead from there. Dorian Pan tries to go around the outside of Chambers into turn 1 for P2, and the two collide, and they fall to the back. They are able to keep on going. Chloe Chambers has some front wing damage. Dorian Pan seemed to get away with it at this point in terms of damage. Hamna Alcabasi is now in P2, and she's all over the back of Abby Pulling. Weug goes for the Verstappen move into turn 5 on Hamna Alcabasi, but can't make it stick, but then does get it into turn 6. That's for P2 on lap 2. Now, Chloe Chambers here gets a 10-second penalty for causing the collision on lap 1. I thought that was very harsh, because realistically, I think it could have been seen as a racing incident. Chloe Chambers was basically on the curb as Dorian Pan came alongside it. There was really nowhere for her to go. So I feel the 10-second penalty for Chambers was incredibly harsh. But there we go. Weug now all over the back of Abby Pulling really struggling throughout this third race. It seems like they had just used up basically all the tyres that they had. I think they used 2 sets of tyres in qualifying, whereas others used 1. So when we got to race 3, they were on used, everyone else on newer tyres. Chloe Chambers pits for front wing, doesn't take the penalty at this point here. Bustamante has a huge lockup at this point. She was 5th. She goes for the move, I think it was on Marty, to take 4th, but locks up so badly that she hits Hamna Alcabasi in P3. Hamna seems to be able to get away with it. Bustamante loses a position. Weug now takes the lead from Pulling, but pushes Pulling out wide. Pulling then cuts the corner and keeps the lead on lap 5. Shows no signs that she was ever going to relinquish the lead here, but she definitely gained an advantage. So I think if she hadn't have... Well, let's keep on going, because Weug does go for the Verstappen move again on Pulling for the lead, but still can't make it stick. And as we go down that long straight, we are 3 wide, Pulling, Weug, and... was it Marty? God damn it, I didn't write it down who it was. No, it was Alcabasi. Pulling, Weug and Alcabasi side by side, 3 wide for the lead of this race. Weug backs out, lets the two of them have a little fight, but then as they go through the chicane, Weug is back on them. Weug finally takes the lead on lap 6 and is able to build a big gap from there. I thought what was quite interesting though, if Pulling hadn't have been overtaken there, she was showing no signs of getting that position back, and I think that would have been a pretty slam dunk penalty, to be honest, because Weug was ahead, Pulling did cut the corner and kept the lead and actually gained an advantage from there quite considerably. So I think Pulling was actually quite lucky here to be overtaken, because otherwise that would have been a slam dunk penalty for her. We do get a few other penalties though. Chloe Chambers got a 5-second penalty for jumping the start, so even without the crash, the start was not going well for her. 10 seconds for Bustamante for causing a collision, that makes sense. Not Chloe Chambers. Abby Pulling is really struggling at this point. Hamna Alcabasi all over the back of her, but just cannot get past. We see time and time again, she's all over the back of her, going into turn 6. Abby Pulling is consistently going to the inside, forcing Hamna Alcabasi to go around the outside, and she can not get that move to stick over and over and over again. Weug has now pulled 7 seconds on Abby Pulling in second. Just to show how much kind of Abby Pulling is that cork in the bottle. There's 7 seconds between her and Weug, but then there is less than a second between every position from Abby Pulling in second to Lola Lovenfoss in P13. So there's quite a train here in the middle of this race. At this point, Leah Block goes round the outside of Marty under the hotel for P4. That's on lap 12 of 14. And this is when Hamna Alcabasi spins into turn 6. We see on a replay, though, she was trying to cut to the inside of Abby Pulling. Leah Block hit her on the back, causing her to spin. Leah Block is promoted to P3. This brings out a safety car very, very briefly because they were able to clean it up pretty well from there, which leaves us with a 1-lap shootout of the final race of the year in Abu Dhabi. I'm sure I've heard this one before. There is a penalty for Leah Block for causing a collision. That's 10 seconds for her. It's a fantastic restart for Maya Weug. Amna Alcabasi also gets a penalty for 10 seconds for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. Lots of penalties to deal with at the end of this race. But as we cross the line, Maya Weug finally takes her first ever win in F1 Academy. And not only that, it's the first time a Ferrari liveried car has ever won in Abu Dhabi, which I was not aware was a statistic before, but there you go. Abby Pulling in P2, and like I said before, I think she would have got a penalty if not for being overtaken, finishing basically a lap after a safety car. That would have massively thrown her down the order, so very lucky for her from there. Marty gets a podium on her final F1 Academy race in P3. Houseman is 4th, Edgar 5th, Pan in 6th, great recovery from her. Strider 8th, Strider 7th, Lovenfoss 8th, Nobles in 9th, De House is 10th. Because of this, Prima have won the Constructors' Championship for F1 Academy. And there you go, that is it for F1 Academy in 2024. Abby Pulling is our champion twice. Prima are the team's champions. There's been some great driving. That is easily the best weekend they've had all year, though. Really, really good stuff. I look forward to seeing what we have in 2025, because there's a few drivers who'll be coming back. Leah Block is confirmed to coming back. I think Maya Weug will be coming back as well. We have drivers like Ella Lloyd and Nina Gademan, who are fantastic wildcard drivers throughout this year, who are going to be full-time drivers next year. So we have a great pool of talent going into 2025, and if this has shown anything, they will just get better and better and better. So we are setting up for a wonderful year of F1 Academy in 2025, but it has been a wonderful year of F1 Academy in 2024. I'm sure you will agree. So there you go. That is one part done of F1 Finale Day. We have got the F2 season finale in just over an hour. We will decide the F2 World Champion. Paul Aaron is now out, but it is still all to play for between Gabriel Borsaletto and Isaac Hadjar. I think it's something like 5.5 points separate them. So basically it is whoever finishes in front of the other will become the Formula 2 champion. So it's all to play for, and you never know what can happen in Formula 2. So there'll be a video on that later on today. And of course, the F1's on later on. We're going to see the last race of Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes, the last race of Carlos Sainz in Ferrari, the last race ever for Magnussen, Bottas, Zhou, and of course the Constructors' Championship, McLaren versus Ferrari. It's looking very much like it's going to go McLaren's way, but who knows what's going to happen. We'll cover all that later on today. Until then, though, have a good one. I'll see you later. Goodbye.